Rabbi Galler. I'm a rabbinical field representative for the OU in Washington State. In this film, we'll be experiencing an intimate view of an OU grape and OU meshkichim at the Kosher Grape harvest in Washington State. They both give their all. I hope that you find this film very interesting and very informative. I'd like to dedicate this film to Rabbi Aaron Steinberg, Olav Shalom, who instituted the Rabbi Diverge system, which is still used today.
We start off in New York, through Pennsylvania, going to Idaho, Indiana, Illinois, to Iowa, the great state of Nebraska, up north to Wyoming, up through Idaho, up to Washington State. We end up in Seattle, and we travel to Yakima Valley, where the grapes are. Here we start off in Seattle, the home of the world-famous Seattle Space Needle that was made during the 1960s World's Fair here in Seattle. Also the home of the football team, the Seahawks, which is at Quest Field. Also the home of the Mariners baseball team here at Safeco Field. And everyone knows who Microsoft is. Who is Bill Gates again? And Boeing Corporation, the ones who design and manufacture commercial airplanes. Here's one of the first Air Force Ones made by Boeing, located at Boeing's Museum of Flight at Boeing Field. Here's a supersonic transport made by British Airways, and the first 747 ever made by Boeing. First flight was February 9th, 1969, and we just happened to catch the takeoff of an Air Force radar plane doing surveillance for our country to keep it safe. Why did I include airplanes in a grape movie? I just thought it was really, really cool. Anyways, back to our grape movie. Seattle's also the home of the world's famous Starbucks. By the way, an OU company. Seattle's located between two mountain ranges. Between the ocean and Seattle on the west is the Olympic Mountains, and on the east is the Cascade Mountain Range, which includes the famous volcano, Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is 14,410 feet, and mountaineers who want to practice for Mount Everest come to Seattle routinely to practice on Mount Rainier. Did I forget to mention that the famous Starbucks is an OU company?
Hi. Before we begin our journey, I must demonstrate to you the weather patterns that affects the grapes. We begin here on the west coast of Washington State, off the coast. Around the world we have a band of winds called the jet stream, and this powers the storms and other things around the globe. The jet stream generally comes right across Washington State over Seattle, like this. And the storms are manufactured off the coast of Washington State. As the jet stream pushes the storms towards Washington State, it hits the Olympic Mountains, which is part of the Olympic National Park. As the storm splits off, because the mountains block it, part of the storm goes south and part of the storm goes north. As they collide right here, right over Seattle, and that's why Seattle has a lot of rain from the multiple storms that come over, sometimes 10 a day, small storms. When the storm continues, the jet stream pushes the storm continually, it bunches up against the mountain range called Cascade Mountain Range. Right here is Mount Rainier, the famous volcano. The more famous volcano is Mount St. Helens, which is here, which is also over here in the midst of its explosion, and Mount Rainier is in the background. So, back to our demonstration. As the storms push towards the mountains, as opposed to the other scenario where the storms went around it, there is no way for the storms to go around the Cascade Range, so they must go over it. But if you learn the natural laws, the higher you go, the less the air can absorb moisture. so they must drop their moisture to get over the mountains. The west side of Washington State is very lush and very wet. As the storms migrate over to the east side, they're almost totally devoid of rain. Hence, eastern Washington is a semi-desert. And even though it's a semi-desert, it's one of the most fertile valleys in the United States. Our next journey will be towards Yakima Valley, the site of the OU Concord grape juice production. And that's why Western Washington is arid and dry, and Western Washington is wet and lush. Great. Very good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
With the family?
Yeah, they're doing great.
Very good. Hi.
Hello, Rabbi. How are you?
Very good. And you?
You know, every time I see you, you brighten my day. So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi Joe, you're flying with us today?
Yes.
How's Sally feeling?
Much better. How's Shmuel?
Oh, he got into his skull. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Hi.
Hi.
Your favorite seat today?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Thanks, Joan.
If you haven't already done so to fasten that seatbelt, just insert the metal clip into the buckle, pull them loose into that strap to tighten, to release, lift up on the upper portion of that buckle. Please ensure your seatbelt is securely fastened whenever that seatbelt sign is illuminated. Also, for your safety, Horizon Air seatbelt policy does require that you stay buckled up whenever you're seated, regardless of the seatbelt sign, just in case we do encounter any unexpected turbulence along the way. Few minutes so we can make through the cabin with a light snack and a beverage cart. Beverage selections include apple, orange, cranberry, and tomato juice, Russia fruit, Starbucks coffee, Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, ginger ale, talking rain, lemon, sparkling water, regular bottled water by the glass. For a complete list of beverage selection choices, please refer to the back section of the Horizon Air Slide magazine. That section is entitled Welcome Aboard.
Traveling at 12,000 feet, you can see how thick the trees are in western Washington. As we travel across the state, you'll see how the trees get less and less until it's almost totally devoid of plant life except for tumbleweed and scrub brush. If you look down, you'll see the fantastic great miracle of irrigation. The green patch of ground is crops for food. Welcome to Yakima Valley, our home for the next 6 to 10 weeks.
I know all of you have a burning question you'd like me to answer. If it hardly rains in eastern Washington, so how is the water for crops? Remember all the rain you said fell in the mountains? Well, here it is. water goes in these black pipes and drip out on each plant to feed the grapevines. So the water goes from the mountains to the grapes to you. Hi, we're here at Art Hallhout's farm, and we're going to follow the grapes from the beginning, and we're going to go on to the picker, and we're going to follow the grapes through. Here, shake the grapevines and the grapes fall to the belt. The belt comes this way, falls on this other belt, on the incline here on both sides, and comes up into the gondola. Come on, we're gonna go onto the picker. How you doing? What's your name? Really? What's your name? George? Yes. George, Rabbi Gaylor, Rabbi Steinberg. You ready to go? Ready to go. Let's go. Okay. How do I get up? Come on. Coming up too.
Here we go, we're starting to pick now. And what happens is that these vines are attached to wires, and when this picker shakes the wires, the grapes fall down on the belt that's straddling in between the legs of the picker. In case you're wondering, that's my twin brother speaking behind me. The picker is shaking the vines, as you can see, and it puts it on a belt, which brings it up towards us, and then it drops it on another belt, which brings the grapes to the other side of the picker so it can be dumped into the small truck that's between the rows. There's a little truck that's specially made to fit in between the rows, and you'll see there's one right there, and when this one gets filled up, the one behind it will take its place. Just watch. There it is, graped as far as the eye can see.
Try it again though.
Huh?
Try it again.
Howdy, we're over here by the truck. Howdy, I'm over here by the truck. Howdy, I'm over here by the truck. Hi, we're waiting here at the edge of the field, waiting for the Hey. Hi, we're waiting here at the edge of the field, waiting for the gondola, which is the small container we saw in the field on the picker, and it's going to come along this road, and it's going to come, and with a hydraulic lift, it's going to lift up the container and dump it all the way up into this big truck here. And this big truck is going to get filled up, it's going to go to the factory.
here he goes to the factory. Bye-bye.
We are now going to follow the flow of the grape juice and get to the ichor of what we do here. We are waiting here at a factory, waiting for the truck to come in from the field, and we will follow the flow from beginning to the end. The pictures that are portrayed from this point on, because of confidentiality problems, is not specific to one company. It's just a typical flow of grape, but the issues will be real.
Shema Israel. The Lord our God is one God.
That's right. We're now going to take this core to take a sample of the grapes. Makes a core sample, and then they grind it up in the sugar shack, which is over there. And we're going to measure how much sugar so they know what to pay the farmers.
Lights, camera, action.
Takes the core, shoves it in, pulls it out.
I get usually 3 to get enough sample. Okay.
Can you explain what you do here?
What we do is get the sample from the grapes as they come in. We try to get one from each bin or each tub. Put them in the blender. Then we take three samples from each one. Test it 3 times.
So that's the amount of sugar that's naturally, and every year fluctuates, but that's an average amount of sugar in the Brix scale, which is the sugar scale.
Right.
Now the truck will be going to the dumping station, which we'll go to now. It's 3:25 in the morning, and we are going to show you a company that's doing Niagara grapes. Notice Niagara grape is green. It's a lighter grape and you get light grape. Grape harvest runs from mid-September through October, and sometimes even as long as Thanksgiving. The harvest is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah, and onward. Meshkichim are here 24 hours a day, from the time the first grape is received until the last drop of grape is processed. Before we take you into the factory, I want to show you what you're going to see. Now this is a simplified version of the process. First the grapes come in the truck. Dumps from the truck into the hopper. In the hopper, it goes up this pipe here, straight into the heat exchanger. The purpose of a heat exchanger is to heat the grapes to a significant degree that it's mavushal. The second half of the heat exchanger will cool it
so it reaches the optimal temperature for the enzymes which are added here in the tank. Let's say it's a cold morning and the grapes are very cold, so when they come into the heat exchanger, it doesn't reach our target temperature for mavushal. So there's a system, and it's nicknamed the rabbi divert. If the grapes are not at the temperature, they cannot attain temperature, they have two valves. Here's one valve called divert number 1, and right next to it is divert number 2. Okay? So as the grape is coming up the heat exchanger, and it did not reach temperature where it was supposed to, when it gets to here, before it gets to here, this divert valve will shut, and this divert valve number 2 will open, and this will force the juice to go in the orange pipe back outside, back to the hopper, and it will make this loop continually until it reaches temperature. Now when the grapes reach the target temperature or above, this valve number 1 will open, divert valve number 2 will close, and the grapes will continue forward into the tank. We have certain safeguards to make sure that these divert valves are working. One of them is the air pressure that actually pushes the valve mechanically. So we check the air pressure to make sure the pressure is at the level in order to push the valve closed. We also, in case a stem or something gets stuck in the valve, to keep it open, so we have a sight glass, which it is a piece of pipe with a glass, section is glass, and the mashkia can look into the sight glass when the divert is going back to the hopper. He looks physically at the sight glass to make sure there's no grapes going through. If there's any grapes going through here, then he knows that this divert valve is not working. Another way we check is with the heat chart. The computer senses what temperature it is and records it on the heat chart. I made a little drawing of the heat chart right here. Some people say it's Pac-Man, but it's actually a heat chart. It's a piece of paper that's on a wheel, and you have 2 pens. The red pen here makes marks in the paper, records the temperature. The blue pen here is the rabbi divert pen. When the temperature goes down, so it's not mavushal, the rabbi divert kicks on. And when the rabbi divert kicks on, this pen jets down like this, and when the temperature goes back up, it goes back up. So, there's many ways the mashkia checks on the rabbi divert mistaker. So you got the heat chart. You have the divert valves, which you see them actually opening and closing. You have the sight glass, and you have the air pressure. And this is why we have such a large tonnage of kosher grapes going through the factories every year in Washington State.
And the grapes now go from the hopper up an incline auger, goes up, drops into a destemmer, which is a round cylinder with round holes, and the round holes accept the grapes, and the round holes do not accept the stem. So it's called a destemmer. So they have the stems dumping into the truck. The other flow that's dumping in the truck is from the presses where they squeeze the grapes, and that waste also goes into this truck, and they sell it to the farmers for mulch, for organic material in the fields.
Next, the juice goes through what's called a heat exchanger, which is a tube as we explained, and heats up the grapes, so it's mavushal, so there's no shilas at all. This is before it's pressed, by the way. As we explained before, we have charts which we monitor the rabbi divert, and here we'll open up a chart here and show you that here's the temperature of the grape here. And when it diverts, if you focus in right here, this blue pin shows us exactly when the divert went on and for how long and when it went off. So we coordinate the temperature here. See, the temperature went down here and the divert that went on, so we verify that the rabbi divert is working. And we can, every 24 hours this is switched, and you see it's signed by the mishgiach here to make sure they don't switch any charts, so the charts aren't are replaced. Now we're going to go outside the booth where it's very noisy, but I'm going to show you the physical rabbi divert, which we explained. We'll see it on or off, and we'll explain the sight glass, and these are all our safeguards to make sure that the rabbi divert is working in concert with the computer physically and electronically. Another safeguard we have to make sure the rabbi divert is working is the lead man and mechanic sign off that they calibrated the thermometer and make sure they did a test that the rabbi divert is working. So that's a fourth safeguard. Heat exchanger, tube and tube, it goes back and forth. And these are the rabbi divert valves, the blue cap units, and the white cap units are the temperature probes that measures the temperature. And the white tube is the air pressure that actually moves the valve. So we have to monitor the temperature, the rabbi divert valve, and also the air pressure to make sure everything's working. And our other safeguard over here is the sight glasses, which we can actually see the juice moving. And here the juice is moving, so that means the rabbi divert is not on. And the other line that's running, also the rabbi divert is not on. So the juice is flowing forward. Knock knock. Hi Moshe.
How's it going?
How you doing? You mind if we do some filming? Let's see how you live here. There's the shells, the seals, svarim, cups. There's all your materials there. Seals, different kinds of seals. And there's their board, which they write the notes to the next mishgiach that comes on shift, and things they have to keep track of. And there's their desk. There's the paperwork, and there's the computer. Anyways, Moshe, can we ask you some questions?
Sure.
I have a question and I want answered. You know, it seems like a very advanced system, and so much so that it could almost run itself. So exactly what do you do here, and what are your concerns?
Well, the system is, for the most part, automated, but we have to make sure that all the parts are working the way that they're supposed to. If one detail is out of line, it could throw off the whole production. For example, the divert is opened and closed by air pressure. So if the air isn't flowing properly, the divert valves won't be able to open or close. So we have to check the air pressure gauges, make sure that the right amount of air is flowing through. We also check the temperature charts, make sure that the divert pin hasn't run out of ink, make sure it's functioning properly so we can monitor throughout the process. We also we have to make sure that the memory in the computers that has the set points programmed in it is functioning properly, and that the temperature gauges that show the computer and the divert valve when to divert. So we have to make sure that the temperature gauges are calibrated regularly.
So what's your challenge here when you're on shift? What's your biggest challenge?
That's just the divert system itself. But in addition to that, we monitor everything that goes on in the plant. We have to stay alert to make sure that everything is being labeled properly, that all of the ingredients are kosher. We have to keep on top of the product, keep track of everything that goes on in the plant. And for that, we have our paperwork here. Every time we do a tour, we fill out one of these. This has the product being processed, the flow of the product, meaning which machines are being used and which storage tank it winds up going to. We make sure that the Rabbi divert is working and all the components are working. When tankers come to fill up with juice, we fill out a tanker fill-up checklist. We seal it with our kosher seals, write down the seal numbers and where they are. If drumming is being done, we fill out whether it's regular OU or OUP, the kind of seals, and the seal numbers again. Storage tanks, if they have to be sealed, are sealed with this list here. List the tank number, the location of the seal, and how it's sealed, whether it's with tape or with our plastic seals.
Well, thank you, Moshe. I think you answered our questions. Let me ask you one other question. What's it like being here for 2 days Yom Tov and Shabbos in a row?
Well, it's difficult being away from home for Shabbos and Yom Tov, but it's easier knowing that the job we do here is very important and affects all our friends and family, everyone we know.
Well, thanks very much, Moshe.
Sure.
I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, we're here at the Rabbi's trailer in the sukkah. So here is our office where we stay, and for Yom Tov and Shabbos, take a little peek in there. So not the most exotic, but it works. Here's the sukkah. I think it rained. Rarely, but it rained. This is our home away from home. We are in another sukkah. And here comes the train, too. Here we have a little window here. Pass food in. And there's our sukkah. We're not going into the press room. There are some companies that press it with pressure, and some companies that spin it in a machine called a decanter, which is the case where we are now. Because it's so noisy, I'll explain it now. The first thing we'll be seeing is the green machinery, which is the decanters that spin the grape. And then it'll be showing you the treatment tanks where they put the enzymes in. Let us begin. By the enzymes. These are the enzymes I put in. It's automatically put in by a computer. And the grapes are in called a treatment tank, which are these lines of paint where they put the enzymes in. And here's the grapes. Approximately 140 degrees. The heat exchanger brings it up to mabushal temperature and then brings it back down, so it's an optimum temperature for the enzymes to work to make a deep, rich color. We're going into the hotel now. Hi Barry, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Can we come around and talk a little bit?
Sure can.
Okay. Knock, knock. Hi, Dick.
Hey, hi, Rabbi.
Can we come talk?
Yeah.
I know the rabbis have lots of requirements and stuff. You have any problems with that? I mean,
No,
elaborate a little bit on.
I've always let them, do what they need to do. Like sometimes they can't have any electricity or any doors that work on electricity or something, so you have to open them up for them and leave them in the lights and stuff. So we do that, and they need that tabernacle out there. And so we let him put that up, and whatever he wants to do with it, we let him do it. I have no problem with that.
I heard that the rabbis wanted a self-cleaning oven for so they could kosher the oven.
Yeah, and that's fine. So we got rid of the brand new one and put it in. We didn't even use that new one. We just paid $600 and then took it out. Got another new one. So that's about as good as we can do here. I can't go in and cook for them. And they wouldn't want me cooking anyway. So, and they give me good bread. Oh, that's the best bread. Rabbi's wife comes over and she makes it, and when she don't come, he tries at it, and it turns out pretty good. And I appreciate that. My wife appreciates that. And he made us a dinner one time, and it was real good.
The eggplant parmesan.
Yeah, it was good.
After I tripped the smoke alarm.
Yeah, after everybody exited the building, he brought out the food. That was to let me know it was done. So I can always tell when he's about through, because the smoke alarm goes off. That's my time to get cleaned up for dinner.
I want to put a little note to this tape that...
I put a little note too. They are working crazy hours. I see them all the time. That's not normal, but you know those people. So
just say they should all get raises, that's all.
yeah, all pay raises.
All pay raises.
When they get their pay raise, they'll let me know and I can raise the rent to them.
That's one question. Let's get a little political here. What's your view on Israel and the Palestinians?
Jewish people are God's chosen people. Abraham had all that land as far as he could see. And that should always be your people's land no matter what.
Here we are at the family room, the meeting room, where off shift they can come in here and relax. And now it's before Shabbos, so we're preparing for Shabbos here. And there is hi Yehuda, how you doing? What are you doing? Slicing tomato? Okay. Oh, good. And here's the kitchen, full kitchen, and there is Moshe Steinberg making some sort of witch's brew for Shabbos.
It's just water, really.
And here's our Shabbos table. Beautiful array of paper plates. And here's our lulavim here, which we used. And over here is Avi Steinberg. I wonder what he's reading here. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Daf for Kashrus. Very interesting. And here is here's the view. Here's the grape fields. Here's our library and also our laundry detergent. What we have here for the guys, we have Daf for Kashrus's, Kashrus magazine, Koshering, Grape and Wine, General Info, Produce and Insects, Shilas and Chuvas, Fish, more Daf for Kashrus's, and here we have OU manuals. And everyone learns these to update their kosher skills. And there it is. Our pop-up sukkah. Looks like a head with a neck on it. Careful the guideline. Here we go. There it is. And here, let's go in. There's the skak. There's our two chairs.
After the decanter, the juice is filtered through a filtering agent called diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is mined in Nevada in the southwest of the United States. It's actually a fossilized plant life that under the microscope looks like a sponge. And to the human eye, it looks like white powder. And they filter the juice through diatomaceous earth, and it's like a sponge, and it sucks out the sediment from the juice. Then the diatomaceous earth and the juice go through a filter called a plate and frame filter. We're going to go over there and look at it now. This frame filter is under pressure. There's individual frames here, and you have little channels which the juice goes through, and it sucks it to a vacuum. It sucks it through the earth, and then the earth is dropped down. They're opening it now, so that's the diatomaceous earth with the sediment in it. The diatomaceous earth
sucked through the grape juice and the solids get caught in there. And that's what it ends up. And this goes to mulch for the fields. That's the diatomaceous earth dropping down into the belt for waste to go into the truck. The juice is pumped forward to the concentrator. The next stage of the grape juice, it goes to the concentrator. What the concentrator is like a big pot of soup on the stove that boils and boils and gets thicker and thicker as the water evaporates. So what the concentrator does, it boils it and boils it as the steam leaves the vessel. The grape juice gets more and more concentrated, which increases the sugar content, which is a natural preserver. We're sitting here at Valley Processing with Mary Ann, owner and president of Valley Processing. We have Terry Bleasner, which is the executive director. We have Charlie, which is the plant manager, and John, which is the production manager. I'd like to start by asking you, how long have you been with the OU? Marianne?
We have been doing the OU 6 years.
6 years. And what made you go to the OU originally?
Well, we just had more customers asking when we were with Kay, then we'd always have to get that letter, and it was getting a confusion, you know, because some of them say, well, this isn't what we want, and so we switched to OU.
Make a round table here. And what do you think of the supervision and the rabbis, etc.? Who wants to take this? Terry.
Yeah.
You have a close relationship with the rabbis?
They've actually been pretty easy to work with when we do need to get them in, you know, besides harvest, to get them into drum product or other things like that. You know, it hasn't been a problem to get them here based on our schedule. We've been able to work it out between the two of us. During harvest, they've been flexible based on, you know, crop size, working through holidays, which is good. Overall, it's been very good.
And Charlie?
On the day-to-day process, very easy to get along with, available when we need them. Just in general, a good working relationship.
And John?
Basically the same thing, easy to work with, and actually it's been getting a lot easier over the years with you guys. Everything's pretty much all koshered out and everything now.
What about personally? You have any problems personally with the rabbis?
No, actually I think they're pretty nice guys, and they're pretty much help you out with whatever you need to help you out.
Okay, any jokes?
No.
Make this a little lighter? No? This is, huh? What? What?
Rabbi Galler's our favorite.
Yeah, say that. Wait. Okay, do that again.
We love Rabbi Galler.
Anybody else? Oh, great job. Thank you for cleaning your room so nice. I know with the holidays and everything.
Thank you.
How are you? What do you think of the rabbis?
Oh,
Hi, we're here in a tank room. We're on a catwalk on top of the tanks. These tanks are 500,000 gallons and they have multiple rooms. Most companies. To show you how high we are, we'll span down. Each tank has a kosher tag, which says the date that we koshered it, the temperature, etc. And we update this periodically. We're here in the final stage, which is the storage room for the finished product of the grape, ready for consumption.
Look. And there it is. Straight from the grape, ready for you.
Hi, my name is Randy Hageman. I'm the President and General Manager of Milne Fruit Products. By way of background, our company has been in this location since 1957. Our core business is juice concentrates, all made from fruit, and fruit puree concentrates as well. This facility runs year-round. Our modus operandi is that we buy fresh and frozen fruits and convert those into the juice concentrates and puree concentrates. Milne Fruit Products does not have a retail presence, but we are ingredient suppliers to industry. Our customer base includes many of the household names that you're all familiar with. An important part of our marketing program to these large companies is the fact that our company is OU certified. The OU certification is a very important aspect of our business to our customers, and we have been certified here at Milne Fruit Products since roughly 1990, 1991, right in there is when we got started. During the grape season, which is typically mid-September until late October, we do have OU oversight and OU supervision 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during the Concord grape juice production, which in turn allows us to put the OU symbol and certification on our labels. Very, very important to our customers in many parts of the country that they have the OU symbol. People are reading labels nowadays, and I know for a fact that they look for the OU symbol on the label before they buy. It is a very helpful and important part of our marketing and sales program. I would be really remiss if I did not mention the gentleman who helped us get our program of OU certification off the ground many years ago, and that was Rabbi Steinberg. Rabbi Steinberg was extremely helpful in working with our management here and with our marketing people, and especially on the operations side of things, where he explained the importance of time and temperature relationships, automatic temperature divert, et cetera, as it pertains to the OU certification. He was just a master at that. What I personally appreciate on a personal level, of course, is the relationship that I had with Rabbi Steinberg regarding his problem-solving skills. You could go to him at any time with a situation or an issue, and he had a wonderful way of working it out to a win-win situation for both the OU organization and for our organization here. Along the way, I became personal friends with Rabbi Steinberg, as well as good business partners, and he was absolutely a gentleman and a scholar, and I will miss him, and I do miss him. We're going to have to cut that last part out. Rabbi Steinberg was a gentleman and a scholar, and I miss him greatly. Thank you.
Hi, hope you had a great time, but I have to grow, my crew needs me. See you later.
La ma 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 Shalom Asa Hashem Nagila v'Lisbor